Hey, what's up, guys? How we doing? Feel like this is like forever ago talk, but here we are.
Yeah, it's been a minute. It's been a minute.
Few minutes.
Huh.
So,
Yeah, you seen that too? I thought Rav was premium.
what? Didn't see it kick Rav off.
Anyway,
No,
sorry
you
guys.
Anyway,
Sorry guys. I feel like we haven't
lost
done this for
access.
a while. I feel like
It
we
says
haven't
it
done this
lost
for a
access
while.
to your Facebook there, sir.
Yeah, we're live on my Facebook. I just got it up and running.
Ah, okay. Very good.
Oh
Very good.
my.
So, Jason, happy guy today after yesterday's events.
I'm a little happy, cautiously optimistic about Edwin Diaz. I learned my lesson the hard way after Tanner Scott. So I learned that regardless of a player's resume, regardless of all-star appearances, regardless of whatever, you still got to go out there and play the games. You still got to go out there and pitch.
I throw
And
one other thing out at you.
yeah,
What
yeah. And
what happened? What happened the last time that the World Baseball Classic took place?
Oh boy, let's see. It's been 4 years almost.
He tore
What?
Diaz
he
got
tore his ACL.
Thielens got balled up, didn't he? That's what I was just ready to say.
Yep, I think you're
Diaz,
right.
Yeah, he
Diaz
was
tore
out. He was
Diaz
out for
tore
a long time.
Yep, tore his ACL in the World Baseball Classic. So
That's
So
right.
yeah, look, on paper, Edwin Diaz is a great acquisition for the Dodgers. On paper, he can help them lock down the troublesome eighth and ninth innings. But again, he's got to get out there on the mound and he's got to prove it. There's always injuries, there's always inconsistencies, and like I said, I learned from the Tanner Scott and Kirby Yates and Michael Kopech debacles. All right, he may carry a lofty resume with him, but are we getting the 2023 Edwin Diaz who couldn't save a cat out of a tree? Or are we going to get last season's version of Edwin Diaz who was 28 of 31 in save opportunities for the New York Mets, who posted a microscopic ERA of 1.25 or something like that, and whose whip was less than one? So, yeah, again, cautiously optimistic, but excited at the same time because he was the best reliever available out there on the open market, and they had to get him regardless of what risks you're taking.
I like hearing all the people complain. You got to pay to play.
do you think he's better than Robert Suarez?
I think Diaz is more aggressive than Robert Suarez, and to that extent, I think it makes him a little bit better. I saw a lot of Suarez last year, obviously having pitched with the Padres and watching a lot of Padre Dodger games. And for the first half of the season, Rich, Suarez was locked down. I mean, he was virtually automatic for the Pods. And then it seems like around just before the All-Star break and shortly after, he really started to tail off a little bit. And whereas Edwin Diaz got better as the season progressed. So, again, I think Diaz is just more aggressive than Suarez is aggressive too, but Diaz brings feistiness to himself when he gets out there on the mound. So, I think given what the Dodgers look for out of their relievers, he's a better fit for them than what Suarez is, just because of all of that and more that I said about him.
Does anyone think the Orioles are done? Or are they gonna make more moves?
We got to make a pitching move.
Think they're gonna go after Ranger Suarez?
I think they're going to try it, but from what I've seen, there's about 7 or 8 teams that are in the market for Ranger Suarez. So, including Mets.
What's up, Josh?
Or not Ranger Suarez, but Robert Suarez, the closer from San Diego. Ranger
No, I was
Suarez from
talking.
the Phillies. Whoop, there went Jason. I don't know what happened.
He must be on his phone. It looked like he hit the back button.
Yeah. But Ranger Suarez from the Phillies, possible. I think it's possible the O's could go after Ranger Suarez. I think there's a couple. I think the Cubs are in the market for him. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I've seen the Orioles mentioned for a couple of different pitchers over the course of the last day or so. The thing I do like is I'm actually hearing the Pirates' name tied to some players. I saw him tied to Brandon Lau. I saw him tied to Jorge Polanco. Both of those are good, and I saw him tied to Ryan O'Hearn. So, that okay. If you get 2 out of those 3, okay, that would definitely make a difference. I'm hearing that there's a couple teams that are trying to pull trades together to get either Mitch Keller or Burrows.
See, I thought Baltimore would have been in on the Mitch Keller trade. Was that mentioned, Rich, or didn't we get anywhere?
Baltimore wasn't one of the ones mentioned.
Really?
The Cubs. I'm trying to remember who all it was. It was the Cubs, the Brewers, because the Brewers just lost Freddie, or going to lose Freddie Peralta. It was the Cubs, the Brewers, the Rangers, the Astros, and somebody else, because the Astros are going to lose Framber Valdez. I've heard Valdez to the Orioles.
I have a question for you, Rich. And you're in Texas, so you would be aware of this. Did Corey Seager request a trade?
No.
No?
No, but the Rangers are looking to cut payroll, and there have been discussions with both the Red Sox and the Yankees. It better not be the Yankees, because the guy that is the linchpin to that trade is that worthless piece of garbage, Anthony Volpe, whatever the hell his name is. He couldn't play for the Midway High School team here. I'm sorry. He's as much stuff as I talk about Jeter. Jeter was good. This guy ain't nothing. You don't want to be the guy to replace the guy. Here he is. I mean, Volpe had a great rookie year. Outside of that, he has done nothing. He's a horrible
I'm glad Jamie
fielder.
ain't here for all this. I heard he wanted to go to Baltimore.
It's the facts. That's
Corey
the part
Seager
that
wanted to
kills
get traded to Baltimore.
Corey has never suggested a trade. He has never suggested a trade.
Josh, I was at work, so I don't know where everyone else was.
I was working.
Rich was working. Jason, he had family issues.
I finished up working about 9 o'clock Central, 9:30 Central, somewhere around there. And
that was 10:30, just to let everyone know out there.
I told you when you got this gig, wait till this time of year, you were going to be putting in 14, 15-hour days. I warned you.
I know, man. I know. I feel like I lose 6 or 7 pounds every day. But I gain it all right back because these people leave snacks on their porch and hey, for delivery guys, hey.
Yeah. I got a friend of mine that does that.
I'm not complaining.
Him and his wife they'll do like sandwiches, and they'll have a cooler of sandwiches. Even if the weather's cold, they've got a little what are those little things you use when you take camping? Sterno. A little can of Sterno to keep the sandwiches kind of warm. And they've got a thing there for delivery guys.
That's awesome. I could go for some real food every once in a while instead of looking at potato chips or Snickers bar. Or,
I think they do it real simple, like ham and cheese or turkey and cheese.
That's fine. I'd rather have sometimes I'd rather have a ham and cheese than whatever.
So let me ask you guys this, because everybody's freaking out about this. Is the first time the O's have had a legit power hitter in however long. Didn't they used to have Anthony Santander? Or am I forgetting the fact that he ever played for Baltimore?
Nope. They had Anthony Santander for, I think, 5 seasons. Yeah.
Here's the fun. Rich, I thought you were going to ask a trivia. Right? I thought you were going to ask a trivia question, Rich. I thought that's what I was waiting for. So how many?
I was just thoroughly lost because they're talking about Alonso's the first legit power hitter they've had in what, a year?
Yeah.
When did Santander go to Toronto? Last year or 2 years ago?
So from what I
Last year.
understand, and I'm no Orioles expert. I think Rav would be better to ask about this than I
Yeah.
would. But from what I recall, the Orioles were afraid about Santander's asking price in free agency, and they didn't want to meet it at the time. And plus, with the litany of young players on their roster, especially outfielders like Calgill and Westberg and all those guys, they felt, okay, if we lose Santander, we can plug in that spot, excuse me, with some of these young guys that we have. So, but primarily, they didn't want to meet his asking price. At the time last season, he and his agent were asking for Teoscar Hernandez type money. They were asking for close to what Alonso got this season from Baltimore,
Joe.
Which is ironic. So, yeah, that's from what I recall. But again, ask Rav. He would know more about that than I would.
And you want to hear a really good one is that we were going back to this Mitch Keller thing. I'm still hearing, and there's bits and pieces that get added to the deal, but the nuts and bolts of it is Mitch Keller for Adley Rutschman. And then some peripheral parts on both sides. Because the Orioles have got like 3 stud catchers in their minor league system. So it makes Rutschman more than expendable, a switch hitting catcher, all-star catcher. I mean, he would go right behind the plate for the Pirates today and probably hit third.
And Rich, before the end of last season, the Orioles signed Sam Basayo to a 5-year contract extension. And so when they signed him to that extension, that told me, okay, they are ready to move on from Adley Rutschman, who they were convinced was going to be their catcher of the future just 2 years ago for a decade or so. But they obviously have pivoted, gone in a different direction. And I was hearing Adley Rutschman to the Giants rumors up until the end of last season. And that actually makes a lot of sense for the Giants and for Rutschman. But, you know, it would seem to me like a Mitch Keller for Rutschman trade would be kind of uneven for both teams. I mean, is it going to be a one-on-one swap? Would there be other prospects or other money switching hands in this deal? Or is it just straight up Keller for Rutschman? Because that just seems like to me an uneven deal for the Orioles.
No, I hear there's other moving parts to it. It's just that those parts change. It's just the core of the deal is Keller for Rutschman. Some other minor leaguers and some cash and that kind of stuff. But the centerpieces of the deal are Rutschman and Keller. And I would make that deal. I wouldn't be against that. I told Adam this a while ago. If we're going to trade one of the big 3, Keller would be the one of the 3 I would want to trade.
Yeah.
Definitely we're not trading Skeens. Would not trade Jared Jones. Even though he's coming off the surgery, I think he's going to come back really strong this year. There was talk today that Tarek Skubal's on the block. You would have to offer the Tigers the moon, the stars, and Shohei Ohtani to get him. I mean, you would literally, if the talk is the Dodgers.
Shohei's contract.
The talk is the Dodgers. That's the funny part. But you would have to give up so much to get him, man. You wouldn't have a minor league system left.
So I was following a lot of reputable Dodger inside sources throughout the winter meetings, and everything they were reporting said that the framework for a Tarek Skubal trade with Detroit was in place, but the main caveat into making the trade work not only hinged around the type of players that the Tigers got in return, but Skubal agreeing to sign an extension long-term with the Dodgers if the trade was made. Now, for their part, Scott Boras and the Tigers front office have done a pretty good job at backtracking since then and has said, well, you know, this was kind of an old-fashioned case of, you know, he said, she said. And even Boras has said all week, you know, Skubal's in the Tigers' long-term plans. He's guaranteed to be at the front of their World Series aspirations. But yet on the Dodgers side, they still said, look, we have the deal on paper. It's ready to go. All we need is for you guys to sign off on it and Tarek to say, okay, I'll sign for a 5-year extension after the trade, $300+ million. Put me in that rotation with Shohei and Glasnow and all the others.
Well, see, that's where the catch, I think, is coming in, because Joel Sherman on MLB Network today was talking about this. And he said that he was of the belief that the extension that the Dodgers wanted was 10 years. 10 years, 10 years, no trade, no options. 10 years, he's a Dodger, period, end of story. So, and, you know, Sherman said that's going to make it tough.
They're looking for the next big player to stop the CBA.
Well, but I'm just looking that Shohei or Scooble, I don't know that he's looking to lock himself down, and which he would be doing, because he wouldn't have a trade capability. He wouldn't have any options. It would be, I'm spending 10 years in LA, whether I like it or not. I don't know that he's wanting to do
series. That. Oh, no. Oh, no, they might win 9 more World Series in a row. Oh, no. Who wouldn't like that?
I honestly, I don't foresee that. They've got a lot of guys that are coming, rounding third, headed toward home on their careers. They're going to lose Rojas after next year. I wouldn't be surprised if Freddie Freeman retires next year, Jason. Or does he have one more year on his deal after this
one? Freeman has one more year left on his deal after this one.
He's through 26.
Okay. He's through 26. I think
he's done after that.
It feels like he is, because he's been battling with a lot more injuries within the last 2 or 3 seasons. And even just earlier this week, I think on Monday or Tuesday, there were reports that came out saying that he wasn't going to play for Team Canada in the WBC because of some injuries that he had surgery on, or that he had to have tended to in the off season. Now, he and his people say he's going to be ready for the start of spring training, but as far as the WBC goes, he won't be playing. So I tend to agree with you, Rich, and I think that Freddie is literally on his last leg, and I think he's going to play out his contract with the Dodgers.
They don't have to play the WBC, right? They don't have to play it, do they?
No, but he's had some major issues with his ankles for quite a while now, and that's one of the things that he had worked on.
Yeah.
But he is 30. He's 36.
He's 36. Got to be 37.
So he'll be 38 at the end of his contract.
Yeah.
I could see him being done. I could see it. I'll tell you what, as much as I like Max Muncy, he's a good guy. He played at Baylor. I got to know him. He's a super good guy. He's only a year younger. I think he might be done at the end of his deal, which I think is the same time as Freeman's. So, you lose those 2 guys. There's some age on that team that, they're going to have to make up for here in the not too distant future.
How's the farm look there, Jay?
Well, let's see. The Dodgers heading into next season have the top-ranked farm system in all of Major League Baseball. Baseball America ranked it as the #1 farm system. The Dodgers have currently 6 or 7 outfielders who rank in the top 150 of Major League Baseball's prospect farm line. They have 4 pitchers who are ranked in the top 100. So they have a litany of young, talented outfielders, guys like Zaire Hope, guys like Jose De Paula, that other teams are salivating for right now. So yeah, Adam, their farm system is set. Oh, by the way, they have another kid who played in Double-A last year by the name of Kendall George. All he did for the Dodgers Double-A farm team was bat over 320 last season and still 65 bases. So yeah, the Dodgers are stacked, not only on the current roster, but down on the farm as well. So whoever says the Dodgers don't grow their own talent, go back, look at the stats, look at the farm, and then come back and talk to me after you do your research.
Well, and Kendall was one of those names that I kept hearing in this hypothetical Scooble deal. It was him. There were a total of 9 players going from the Dodgers to Detroit. And I think 8 of them were prospects.
Yeah. See, even for Scooble,
Dalton Rushing was the other one.
If they want to trade Dalton Rushing, I don't care. I mean, let Rushing go. We can live without him. But 9 prospects, even for Tarek Skubal, that reminds me of when Mike Ditka pulled off that hell of a deal to get Ricky Williams, trading his entire first and second round just to get Ricky Williams.
Right. Well, the big difference, though, is Tarek Skubal is the best pitcher in the American League, the best left-handed pitcher in baseball right now, hands down.
He is, Rich. He is. But like you just
And he's
alluded
top
to,
two, him and Skeens, depending on,
Yep.
1 and 2 in
Oh
baseball.
man, he would be trying to follow up Clayton Kershaw.
Yeah, no pressure there.
Right.
No, not at all.
Not at all.
But Kershaw was a groomed guy. He came through their farm system. He was, he was start to finish a Dodger. And we've had this talk before. I think Kershaw is one of the few remaining of a dying breed. A guy that starts and finishes a Hall of Fame career or a substantially profitable career with one team. I think Mike Trout finishes his career with the Angels. I think Altuve finishes with the Astros. And I think that's about it in baseball. Next guy up, I guess, would be Sal Perez.
Yeah,
and he's borderline Hall of Famer.
Mm-hmm. No, Sally's a Hall of Famer. He's a first ballot in my estimation.
Really?
But,
yep.
But you get past those guys, who really are we talking about? That's a transcendent player that's going to be a Hall of Fame type player that's been with one team for more than 5 years, 7, 8 years.
Well, I would normally say Skeens, but I think we're all in agreement that Skeens won't spend 5 years in Pittsburgh.
Here's something I heard, and I heard it from 4 or 5 reputable sources, which I think makes a difference. A couple of the trips that the upper management went on to visit free agents, Skeens went with them.
Okay.
Yeah, I read that today too. I read that today too, Rich.
That tells me a little bit too, because if Skeens wasn't concerned about making this team a winner, he wouldn't have done that.
True. I read that Skeens is a highly part of the offseason, whatever that meant.
Yeah, I mean, and we've talked about this before. The pitching is not a major problem. Starting pitching is not a problem. Bullpen needs a little bit of help. The 1 through 9 is where the problem comes in. You've only got really a couple of spots filled, and you need many more filled than that, which is why I like the idea of a Polanco and an O'Hearn and a Rauschman and a Brandon Lau. If you can get a couple of those guys, that fills some of those holes.
You guys can have Kirby Yates if you want him.
I don't understand what happened with Yates, because he was fine in Texas 2 years ago. He pitched great for us.
Well, all he did for the Dodgers last season was lob coconuts over home plate.
I understand, but when he was in Texas in 2023, I mean, he helped us win a World Series.
Yeah, well, you know what? Like I just said a few minutes ago, Rich, my cautious optimism about Edwin Diaz, I learned my lesson watching Yates and Tanner Scott. These guys are human beings. Look, what they do out there on the baseball diamond is amazing, but these guys are human beings just like you and me. And they get hurt. They're prone to having down seasons. They're prone to making mistakes just like everybody else. So, but as far as Kirby goes, I mean, hey, you know what? I don't know.
Well, and there's another one that we're talking about when we're talking about the age of some of these guys. The guy that ended up doing a whole lot of yeoman's work in the playoffs in relief was Blake Trinan. He's the same age as Freddie Freeman.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about a guy who fell off the cliff really fast. It's ironic because Trinan was our brass god when we won it in 2024. I mean, when Doc went out there on the mound to yank him early, Blake flat out said, "Go F yourself. I'm staying out here. You're not pulling me." And then just this past October, Trinan goes out there and he does his best impersonation of a wiffle ball thrower, and he's throwing Nerf balls to everybody. And it's just like, you know what? It was sad and ironic to see that the guy who nailed it down for us in 24 literally could not get it out the entire postseason or the entire regular season last year. So, but Trinan, I think, still has another year or two left on his current deal. So, I don't know if the Dodgers are going to eat up the money and let him go. I would imagine they'll probably try and hold on to him just for the depth, but I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, because bullpen depth, good bullpen depth is hard to find.
Extremely hard to find. Yep.
Ask pretty much any team in baseball. There's a few of these guys that are out there though. I'm intrigued. I wasn't really surprised that Diaz went to the Dodgers, but I really liked what I saw of Robert Suarez the last couple of years. And I know we're going back to him, but I'm really curious to see where he ends up because I think that's going to be a really, really solid piece. And if he goes someplace like Toronto,
yeah, I mean he was linked to Toronto leading up to the winter meetings. I know the Cubs have had interest in him. I've also heard that Kansas City may have some interest in him as well. That would be an interesting spot for him to go to in KC. And Kansas City has actually reached out and called Andy about a trade involving Teoscar Hernandez because Teoscar could very well be the odd man out, regardless of who the Dodgers move on to from here. So, yeah, but I mean, Suarez could end up a number of different places. I think the Mets would still probably, I mean, if Steve Cohen gets off his butt and stops getting sized for Mickey ears in Orlando, maybe he makes a run at
How
Suarez.
Bad do you feel for Juan Soto? Now he's the whole Juan Soto is the whole piece.
You know what? I feel bad for Mets fans, Adam. I don't feel bad for Juan Soto one damn bit. I mean, this guy, he either was given the biggest boondoggle last offseason, last winter, or he didn't do his homework or whatever. But let's you know what, Juan, you chose to go to New York. The Dodgers made a big push for him. The Yankees made a big push to re-sign him. And those were really the only teams that had a realistic shot at getting Soto. And when he went to the Mets, he knew exactly what he was doing. His agent knew exactly what he was doing. And you know what? A little late for buyer's remorse, buddy. You're there for another 14 years.
Juan Soto is the guy that's there for the money, not to win. I've brought that up on stuff before. He was going to go where he was getting the most money, not where he was going to win. By the way, breaking news, MLB Network is reporting that the Orioles and Framber Valdez have had a meeting this evening.
Okay.
So we may hear something about Valdez. I saw enough of him pitching in Houston. That's a pretty
he's injury prone too, though, Rich. We know that.
Yeah, but he's a really good pitcher, man.
I mean, wasn't he like your first pitcher off the board last year? And
no,
he sat on your IR.
No, that was Yordan Alvarez, the DH. Yordan Alvarez was the number one overall pick and played all of 48 freaking games last year. Thanks a lot, Alvarez. But because he got turf toe, wham. I'm not bitter though.
No, not at all.
But no, I mean, I kind of one of the other ones they're actually showing a thing on him now. I'm curious what happens with Cody Bellinger. Does he go to the Mets? Does he go back to the Yankees? Does he go to the Cubs? Go back to the Cubs?
Go back to the Dodgers?
The Dodgers I haven't heard. But there was
I heard the Dodgers early.
Well, but there was
a name I heard early on.
That had me. I haven't heard the Dodgers in weeks, but the one that I heard that was really interesting was the Braves.
So as far as the Dodgers' interest in Cody Bellinger, right now, LA still has their sights set on Kyle Tucker. But from everything I've read and heard, they're only willing to offer Tucker a high AAV on a shorter term deal, i.e. 3 to 4. They would rather give him all the bulk of the money up front on a 3 to 4 year deal rather than give him a high AAV on a 6 to 7 or an 8 year contract, which that from the Dodgers standpoint, that's smart because Tucker is entering his age 30 years. He did have a great season for Chicago this past year, but I actually like the way the Dodgers are handling this. I think if nothing materializes with Tucker, then you might start to hear more rumors about Cody Bellinger heat up. But as far as the Braves, that would be a great fit for him because they just let Mike Yastrzemski walk. Or actually, no, the Braves just signed Mike Yastrzemski. I'm sorry.
He did.
So
yeah, they did.
So they've added something to their depth there as well in their outfield. Also, the Angels. I've heard Bellinger linked to the Angels, and I would not be surprised if Anaheim makes some kind of a push to get him. So, but he could still very well end up back with the Yankees. And I think at the end of the day, Rich, he ends up back in the Bronx. I don't see him going back to LA. I think he's on a scale of 1 to 10, probably about a 2 or a 3. He goes back to LA.
The one thing that I'm thinking about with all this stuff going on with the Mets and all that, if we get to June or July and the Mets have like 12 wins, which is distinctly possible, is Lindor really pushing to get out?
Lindor's been pushing to get out for the last 2 months. I mean, I've been reading all the stuff about how he and Soto were like despondent with each other during the season in the clubhouse. I've been hearing rumors that
Because
everybody
Lindor
else
wants to win.
and I can't blame him. And so I think Lindor is seriously pushing to get out as soon as he can, ASAP. Does that mean the Mets are going to move him?
I'd be willing to bet you if he could go back to Cleveland, he'd take a pay cut.
I don't doubt it. There were some Padre trade rumors that were starting to materialize in the weeks leading up to the winter meetings, and San Diego was willing to offer a package that consisted of either Jake Cronenworth or Xander Bogaerts with their young catching prospect Ethan Salas, but that deal kind of fell apart real fast. And also, AJ Preller is running out of minor league players to dangle. He's pretty much dealt away all of his top prospects in previous trades. So he doesn't have a lot down on the farm to entice other teams, or to at least entice the Mets to get into play there with a Lindor trade. So, but yeah, Rich, he's been pushing to get out of New York for a long time here.
Yeah, I mean, it's the truth. Play. Mm-hmm. Lindor wants to win.
Yep.
And it just seems like the nonchalantness and everything, which is part of the reason I think why the Yankees didn't really, have a spasm when he didn't re-sign with them, is they want to win and they need guys on that team that can win. And if they were able to bring Bellinger in, who wants to win, and let Soto walk for half the money, okay, I'll do that. And that's just part of the stuff that drives me nuts when you get these guys that are just in it for the cash. But it's gonna be, I think it's gonna be a really long year for New York baseball fans, Mets and Yankees.
Yeah, well, you know what? Steve Cohen learned the hard way with Juan Soto's contract just how tough it is to build a winner around a player whom 3/4 of your entire team payroll is centered around. Because you can't tell me that Soto's contract is the reason why they didn't offer Alonso another deal. And from what I heard, shortly after Pete signed with Baltimore, credible sources like Jeff Passan and John Paul Morosi were saying that New York didn't even call Alonso in an attempt to make a counter proposal, so that they didn't make any attempt to bring Alonso back. They offered Diaz a higher deal at less years than what the Dodgers gave him. The only difference was apparently Diaz chose LA because of the family connection, because his brother Alexis pitched for the Dodgers at the end of this past season. And then flat out, the Dodgers met his request and the Mets didn't. But because of Soto's contract, Mets are looking at it from not only a luxury tax issue, but they're also looking at it down the road for when there will be a lockout and when there will be a labor strike. And so he doesn't want to be strapped with any more high-priced, high-burden contracts heading into a potential labor-shortened year.
No.
You think we're going to get the stoppage?
Yes. I do. I know I sound excited about that, Adam, but I'm not. Because, I mean, you guys know how much I love this game. But from everything I've read, Tony Clark, who's the head of the Players Union, he is standing pat on the players' side in that they are not going to capitulate and they are not going to bend over for the owners. They will never agree to a salary cap. They will never agree to a salary floor. The reasons why?
Why would they?
Well, because Tony Clark, from their position, from the player's position, they feel that if they agree to a salary cap, that emboldens the owners to just manipulate their current salaries and future salaries anyway. And with a salary cap, there's also no guarantee that the smaller and lower market teams are still going to go out and spend every offseason anyway, especially if they have greater financial resources available to them. The owners, we already know what they want. They're not going to budge from their belief. Both sides are going to negotiate throughout the winter and up through spring training. Once the season starts, negotiations will break off because they don't want to distract from the season. But yeah, that contract ends December 26th of 2026 next year. But yeah, sadly, I think there will be a work stoppage. I hope it's not for the entire season like it was in '94. Because if it does wipe out an entire season, this time around, I don't know if MLB can recover from it the way we did in '94.
I mean, we didn't really recover from the first one until the home runs happened.
You're right. And until the steroid
that MLB did not shut down, and then all of a sudden they blackball these three guys from being in the Hall of Fame.
Well, and you got to remember, that was only half the season. That wasn't the entire year. They went on strike in June, and it wiped out the rest of the season.
But did that feel like it killed baseball until the home run derbies happened?
Yeah,
I thought it did.
Oh, it was bad until the whole home run thing. Yeah, you're right. It took 5 years for them to start getting it back. Not everybody is as big of a baseball.
That was
not everybody's as big a baseball honk as me and Jason. Baseball was my first love, and the only person that I know that likes and follows baseball more than me, or as much as me, is Jason. So, do I hate it when it's a strike? Of course, but I think the players have got a little bit too far on their high horse, and it's partially because the owners have let them get there.
Yep.
We've had that talk before about this whole thing with the whole guaranteed money and all that. Yeah. If it was incentive laden, it'd be a whole different kettle of fish than if it was, you get 100 RBI, you get an extra $1 million. You hit 40 homers, you get an extra $1 million. You hit 300, you get an extra $1 million. But
then the managers
strike out less than 100 times, huh?
That's why they don't do that, because the managers can shut that down. Like, all it takes is a phone call from the office saying, "Hey, man, this guy needs 3 more RBIs for 100, and then he gets that huge bonus. Let's keep him on the bench."
Well, then that's a case where the managers got to figure out, okay, does he want to win, or does he, because more than likely, if a guy has that kind of stuff, but more than likely, if a guy's got that kind of stuff in his contract, he's a key player on that team. So do you want to sit Kyle Tucker,
or manager disobeying the office and insubordination?
Well, maybe so, but you win a World Series or you win your division, it makes it a whole lot easier to ask for forgiveness. Do it and ask for forgiveness later.
Okay.
I mean, it still just falls into that whole thing, man. And I realize that makes me sound like get off my lawn guy, but it's the way it is. You should be paid on performance. I don't care if it's baseball, football, basketball, whatever. We've had this discussion about the whole load management thing in the NBA, which is the biggest pile of shit I've ever heard of in my life. You play 82 games, 82 flipping games over 6 months. And you can't play every day. You're supposed to be the greatest athletes in the world. Major League Baseball players go out there every day for 6 months, play 162 games in the elements.
Wear hot-ass clothes.
And these basketball players are crying because they need to take a rest. Look.
So should we talk some football for the last 20 minutes?
You pay me 7 figures, you ain't got to worry about me taking a rest.
Before we talk football, I will just say this in regards to a potential work stoppage. What will really be the telltale sign to watch out for through the winter is How many owners are going to be willing to listen to the players come to an in between? You know, they may not be able to agree on a salary cap or a salary floor or how to spread the wealth when it comes to regional TV dollars and media rights and whatever. But if the owners can say, okay, look, we'll agree. Let's say, for argument's sake, we'll agree to share 50% of the TV revenues here, and we'll meet you halfway with a salary floor of, let's say, 220 million for every team every offseason, just as an example. If several owners are willing to get together with several player reps and say, hey, we'll meet you halfway there, that's a start towards progress. I'm not optimistic it'll happen, but that's the only way that progress will be made. So that's all I got to say about that.
Now, is that only for the MLB, or is that down the whole pipeline?
That's down the whole pipeline, Adam. I mean, you can't do it. You can't cherry pick here. It's got to be for all 30 teams. You can't just have.
No, I meant like your double A teams, your single A teams, your.
I understand now. No, yeah, I think it would have to trickle on down to the minor leagues too. Because remember, let's keep in mind also that minor league players now have the ability to negotiate their own contracts. They are now unionized. They weren't unionized before. So we are forgetting that as well, that whatever affects MLB will affect minor league baseball now more than it ever has at any point in the history of the game. So you bring up a good point, Adam. So yeah, let's talk football, guys.
You mean there's football going on?
Yeah, I think so. Still, for some of us.
Jay, you guys had a pretty big game this weekend.
Boy, I wish I could have gotten on open mic night last night and recapped it, because that game with the Bears went exactly as I knew it would. I knew it was going to be a good old-fashioned trench war. I knew it was going to be a good old-fashioned case of back and forth, slug it out. And thank God the Packers got the last punch, because I'll tell you, it's
punch. They countered.
Well, yeah, they did.
They didn't have the last punch, Jay. They countered with a touchdown.
Yes, they did. And it was a lovely one. But you know what? Green Bay has gone through a gauntlet of a schedule the last 3 or 4 games. And they have another tough one coming up this weekend against Denver, who leads the NFL in sacks with 75 or 80? And we're not even done with the season yet. So and Bo Nix. Hello. I said on this program before the season started, I predicted a big season for Bo Nix. Look what he's doing offensively for Denver. So this will be another big game for the Packers. But that game against Chicago was one that I think it's going to determine who wins that division. And it was just amazing to see Chicago drop all the way down from the 1 seed down to the 6 or 7 seed in the NFC. I was just like, wow. So, yeah, it was a fun game to watch. I even dropped a message into Ken on his Twitter account saying, well played, sir. Because really, I mean, it was a well-played game by both teams. There were some hiccups here and there and some penalty flags that maybe shouldn't have been thrown but still, it was a good old-fashioned NFC black and blue division game.
Yeah, it definitely was. I appreciate Christian Watson more and more every day. I grabbed him off of waivers for my fantasy team whenever they said he was coming back.
Yep.
And but when you look at what Jordan Love is doing, and I said on open mic a couple weeks ago, I think you were on when I said it, that I saw the Bears going 1-5 in their last 6 games because they had all these loaded teams that they were going to be playing. And it started off with y'all. Do I see the Packers winning the division? Probably. I think Detroit is not what Detroit was, but Detroit is getting back into the swing of things. A big problem they've got is injuries all over the defense. But the Bears are going to.
That Blandon injury did not help at all. Not to interrupt George, but that Blandon, oh my.
Oh, Branch,
injury.
Yeah, the Branch injury did not help. But I think that you're going to see all 3 of those teams in the playoffs. Unless Chicago just completely loses their ability to run the ball. But I'll tell you what, man, y'all
crazy.
Yeah, but y'all play the Packers play in Denver. Adam, 2 years ago when the draft came out, who was I all over? Was Bo Nix.
Bo
This
knows.
this year it was Jackson Dart. Last year it was Bo Nix. And I just love the way the guy plays. He played in college a pro style offense, and he's fallen right into it. He has a great defense. They're talking about this defense possibly breaking some records at the 2000 Ravens set. That Broncos Packers game is going to be a hell of a game.
Well, and
they made that the flex instead of putting New England, Baltimore. There was too many good matchups, I feel, this weekend.
Yeah, there were. Getting back to Denver, Green Bay, Rich. I mean, the Packers may not be able to rush the quarterback with prodigious efficiency the way that the Broncos do, but the Packers defense is still pretty damn good. The only thing that concerns me about the Packers defense is their secondary. Because when in that game against Chicago last weekend, Keyshawn Nixon was making me pull my hair out. It's like, how the hell? This guy was getting burned on a lot of deep plays. This guy was making some boneheaded plays as well. The Packers defense, I haven't looked at their numbers recently, but unless I'm mistaken, they haven't caused a lot of takeaways this year on the defensive side. But still, they're holding their own. They're still a top 5, top 10 unit. And while they may not have the same recipe that Denver's defense has, they have their ways of frustrating Bo Nix and getting to that offense.
Well, and when you look at this week's schedule, the late slate is freaking loaded. I mean, you're looking at, you've got the Packers and Broncos, of course, we were just talking about. You got Detroit and the Rams. Yeah. You've got Indy and Seattle. So, I mean, you got 3 really important games regarding the playoffs in the late slate. On Sunday, and whether Phillip Rivers starts, whether Burt Jones or Andrew Luck or whoever starts for the Colts,
Riley Leonard, baby. Did anyone else see that?
Could probably come back. Do what?
Anyone else see that if Phillip Rivers does play, Seattle is the only open field game that he would play, that he would start in, and all the rest are indoor.
Yeah. Did you also see that if he makes the roster, that his Hall of Fame clock resets?
Yep.
Unbelievable. And he's in the second. I get it. Maybe he started thinking they're not going to let 2 quarterbacks in this year. I mean,
he wasn't getting voted in this year anyway.
I mean, we guarantee Drew Brees is going to be a number 1. I don't even know why he's on the voting at all, but anyway.
Well, if he stays on the practice squad, that window of
Saturday,
that window of candidacy stays. But yeah, like you said, the minute he gets yanked off the practice squad and promoted, it's resets.
There are 2 guys that are absolute no-brainers to the Hall of Fame this year. Everybody else you can make an argument about. Drew Brees and Larry Fitzgerald are no questions asked. If anybody says no, they should be beaten about the head and shoulders with a heavy stick.
Right.
Yes.
I mean, and Jason Witten is almost at that level. I would say he's pretty damn close to that same level.
Yeah, I would agree.
But yeah, I mean, the Packers, the rest of the way, I was looking at it. And by the way, as far as takeaways go, you were talking about the takeaway leaders. Got them right here. Whoops, and I lost them. Hold on.
Oh, you're good.
I lost them.
Turnovers. There we go. Takeaways. It is the Bears, Steelers, Jags, Texans, Rams, Seahawks. Packers are near the bottom. Actually, they have 12 takeaways.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
For the season. First is the Bears at 27.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So the Packers defense can hold their own, but they just can't, again, get takeaways, which is really big, especially at this time of year. So maybe that changes over the next 3 to 4 weeks. I don't know, but we'll see.
Could be.
Yeah. But, going back to Jordan Love, I mean, the guy is completing nearly 68% of his passes. I mean, 68.7% of his passes. That is just freaking ridiculous. From Liberty High in Bakersfield, California, Jordan Love. Yeah, I mean that's top 5 among all starting quarterbacks this season. The reason why we don't hear more Jordan Love among the best quarterbacks in the conversation is because Jordan doesn't have the flair. He doesn't have the panache. He doesn't have the flash that Lamar Jackson has or that Joe Burrow has. He just goes out there, does his job, does what's asked of him, and the team tells him, look, we don't want you to be Brett Favre. We don't want you to be Don Mikowski. We don't want you to be Aaron Rodgers. We just want you to be Jordan Love. And he's done it very well this season. I've been totally impressed with the way he's played, kept us in every game, and still don't know if he can get us to a Super Bowl, but let's be fair, hasn't been to one yet, and he'll get a shot to prove he can do it this year. So we'll see what happens. But so far, I've been very impressed with the way Jordan's carried himself and this team this year.
Well, and when you look at the NFC, you have to look at the fact that, okay, you've got the Rams and the Seahawks here.
Yep.
Green Bay's right here.
Yep.
I mean, they're the very top of that next tier. And once you get in the playoffs, it goes back to that old thing of anything can happen. Yep. Especially in the NFC, because if Chicago ends up being the 6 or the 7 and they get the Rams or the Seahawks and it could just get all kinds of crazy if they run the ball and eat the clock and all that kind of stuff. You just never know.
And I'm not really concerned about Philly anymore. I mean, the Eagles right now are doing one gigantic swan dive, and it's fucking fun to watch, let me tell you.
Are the Cowboys going to catch them?
No. I mean,
this just in. The Cowboys suck out loud. This just in. I mean, come on.
I'm just asking a question, Rich. I was just asking a question.
And the Cowboys still suck. I mean, it's just they're not getting the Eagles. As much of a bum schedule as the Cowboys have, because they've got the Vikings, the Chargers, the Commanders, and the Giants. That's our.
Oh, you gotta be kidding me.
The Cowgirls should win the last 3 out of the last 4. I think the Chargers beat them into the turf. But they should lose. They should win those other 3 games. But the Eagles don't have a whole lot to write home about either. They got the Giants, they got the Cowboys, they've got Minnesota, and I don't remember who the 4th one is. But I mean, it's going to be interesting. Philly should be fine though. Who do they have this week? This week they've got Las Vegas. That's the other one. Who again they should pound into the turf, without any major issue. So, I don't think that we're looking at Dallas catching Philly. They just got too big of a hole. They'd have to make up 2 games on them, and I don't see that happening.
Did you guys see that online poll that surfaced from Steelers fans who are trying to petition to have Tomlin fired as head coach?
I think I signed it.
But let Adam sign it.
Adam probably
could win the Super Bowl and Adam would want him fired.
Look, I can't help it. I'm just I don't know. I'm just tired of it. Like, it's the same shit over and over again at this juncture of the game. What the fuck juncture are you fucking talking about? Go to New York. Give us your first round pick. We'll be fine.
You know what? Go ahead.
I was going to say, if they win a playoff game, which they very possibly can, although I wouldn't like the matchup they would have right now. Because if the playoffs started now, we'd get Houston round 1, and I don't want that. Even though it's in Pittsburgh, I don't want that.
Anyone wants you. I don't think anyone wants that team right now.
Yeah, I don't think there's a team in the league, AFC or NFC, that wants to see the Houston Texans right now. That defense.
D'Amico Ryan is playing this team at a different level right now, Rich.
Yep.
D'Amico Ryan has shown why he was hired as a coach.
Yep.
We talked about Denver's defense. Houston's defense is one bad mamma jamma right there, boy.
Yes, they are.
I wouldn't want that, but if we drew the Chargers, okay, I'm not against that. We can take the Chargers.
Yeah, that's
get a playoff win. Get to the division game. conceivably win that. Okay, if we made it to the AFC Championship game, he'd still want Tomlin fired.
Yeah, no, that's a winnable game. I will say this as a non-Steelers fan, from the outside looking in, at some point there has to be a different voice needed in the locker room. I mean, Tomlin's been the head coach of that team for what, over 20 years?
19.
Okay, 19 years. So look,
Yeah.
he does have, regardless of how good or bad he is now, he did get them an extra Super Bowl trophy in that case in their front office. They had success with him when it first started out, but I do think, and Adam kind of brought up something good, and that is hearing the same old excuses from Tomlin week in and week out about why they win or why they lose. Maybe a new voice is needed. Maybe they have gone as far with Tomlin as they can possibly go. Maybe a little too far, but maybe a new voice is needed. And look, I will say this, guys. I admire the Steelers organization for their loyalty to their coaches, their loyalty to their players. But the old adage goes, sometimes there can be fault in loyalty. And I think this year we're really seeing that with Tomlin and with the Steelers. Yes, no?
Adam, you want to go first?
No, go ahead, Rich. Go ahead.
To me, I honestly think the biggest problem coaching-wise with the Steelers this year is Terrell Austin and Arthur Smith, the defensive and offensive coordinators.
Aren't they geniuses?
They might be, but sometimes you can over difficult things. Steelers defense, everybody on that defense knows what they're doing. Let them pin their ears back and go kill somebody. It's plain and simple. The offense, there's not a guy on that team that doesn't know what they're doing. Let them go and do their thing. The guy at quarterback does have 20 years experience in this league. He can take care of things. They don't. To me, the coordinators are rough. I have always said, and this is one I can never get an answer when I say this. Okay, fire Tomlin. Who's taking his place?
Who's not? Bring in the guy bring in the Notre Dame guy, Marcus Freeman. Bring him in.
Okay, I wouldn't be mad at that. But I'm not bringing some schlub in. I'm not bringing Mike McCarthy in. I'm not bringing, huh?
Bring in Chucky.
Okay, I'd be down with that, but I'm not bringing in somebody like a Mike McCarthy or a Rex Ryan. Or
Mike McCarthy's
the hell with that.
Josh McDaniels.
Who?
Josh McDaniels.
No.
Yes.
Dude, he ain't leaving. I think he's finally learned it. He's not leaving that.
The one I can tell you,
I'll
tell you what I would do, Jason, especially if they decided they wanted to go get themselves a quarterback out of Arizona. Would I take Kingsbury as our head coach? Yes, I would.
You want to bring in Kyler Murray?
If they brought in Kyler Murray and brought in Cliff Kingsbury, I would not be against that one bit. Because Kyler Murray played very well under Cliff Kingsbury.
I don't want Kyler Murray.
Kyler Murray is going to end up with the Raiders. Book it.
You think?
Yep.
Even if Pete Carroll steps down?
Even if Pete Carroll steps down. I think he ends up with the Raiders. Book it. He's more concerned about playing video games than he is studying the playbook. He'll end up with the Raiders. Book it.
That could be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be a wild take, Jay. But
although he could go to Miami and play video games with his coach.
Yeah, he could. He could.
That's wild. That's wild. The Dolphins have the same record as the Chiefs. That is wow.
I know.
Where the hell did that come from?
Look, let's give Mike McDaniel some credit. All right. We all stomped on this guy big time when they were in a lot of disarray and dysfunction earlier in the year. But for McDaniel to do what he's done with Miami right now, even if they don't win any other game the rest of the season, hey, he still got them to play really well and get them in position to at least be in the wild card hunt. So, I mean,
it's because of A-Chain. It's because of A-Chain. That's why they're fucking running. That's why they're doing so well.
Yeah, no, and I think we're all in agreement that Tua is not their long-term solution. He probably won't be there next year.
Yeah. A-Chain got knocked out in the first quarter last week, Adam.
They're playing the Jets.
And it's still, I mean, you still got to put people out on the field.
Hey,
his backup ain't that good. It ain't Raheem Mostert anymore, Coach.
The Packers lost to the Browns earlier this year. All right, it's any.
I was just about to say, didn't the Tennessee Titans beat the Browns?
Yes, they did.
Oh, I told you before. The circle of defeat has been completed. You know, this team beat that team, so that team beat that team, and that team beat this team, and this team beat that. That's been completed for like 6 weeks now.
That's just a wild stat. Like you watch good teams just get destroyed, or bad teams. Yeah, it's awful.
Yeah, I mean, you watch a team that you don't think is worth 3 cents come in, and it seems like it always happens to the good team at their place. And they just get absolutely curb stomped, and you're going, wait a minute. You know, Buffalo was supposed to win this game by 20, and they lose by 10. What the hell? You know, stuff like that. You're right, Adam. It's crazy that you have a team like a Cleveland. Well, New Orleans this past week.
And the week before.
Huh?
Well, and look at Tampa. I mean, it was just a month ago. I was singing Baker Mayfield's praises, and now it seems like the Bucs have just kind of, you know.
But they get Mike Evans back this week, which I think is going to make a big difference. That man,
but they are getting Mike Evans back.
Wait, that means Ibuka might wake up again. Is that what you're saying?
And they got Bucky Irving back 2 weeks ago.
They're getting Mike Evans back this weekend.
Yeah, they got Bucky Irving back 2 weeks ago. So, you know, that makes a little bit of a difference. I think they still win that division because God knows Carolina cannot win that division. That would just be insane. But I picked Tampa to go to the Super Bowl. I had Tampa playing Denver in the Super Bowl whenever we did our picks at the beginning of the season. And yeah, I mean, I was all on the Baker train, but I don't know. It's definitely, and I don't know if it's injuries or what it is. That's the problem. A lot of teams you can pinpoint it.
Earlier this season, I had Baker as a possible MVP candidate. I think right now, for me, it's got to be Matthew Stafford of the Rams. You know, what he's doing at his age. The Rams are the best team in the NFC right now, and you can make an argument they're the best team in the entire NFL. But I think Matthew Stafford.
Seattle's breathing down their neck, though, Jay.
Seattle's had a great season also. Mike McDonald has done a great job bringing a different kind of attitude to that Seahawks team that was still living in the Pete Carroll years. But still, you know, hey, the Rams right now, they don't make it look sexy. They don't have a lot of guys on their roster that you look at and say, oh, my God, these guys are awesome. But Jared Verse can bring it on defense. Kyron Williams can bring it in the run game with his elusiveness and his speed in the open field. And like I said, Matthew Stafford, whatever kind of Kool-Aid this guy's drinking, some other guys need to start drinking it because legitimate MVP case. I'm not saying he should win it. I'm just saying he should be in the discussion.
Boy, how much has he revigorated Davante Adams? Good God.
And I'm happy because Davante, hey, I follow him since he went to Fresno State. And it's been fun watching Davante turn into one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. But yeah, I think, and you know what, Rich, it's funny you say that because I think in a way, both Davante and Stafford have helped each other. You know, Stafford is helped by, you know, throwing the ball obviously deep to Davante, but by having a quarterback who can actually throw the ball to him instead of Aaron Rodgers in New York, which is sad because he and Rodgers were like pancakes and syrup in Green Bay in their heyday. But still, Davante and Stafford have been the yin to each other's yang, and they both help each other out. And Davante has been like automatic. I saw some great catches he made last week that were vintage Devontae, Fresno State, Green Bay days.
Yeah, he's just been completely revitalized. And I'm with you. If the season ends today, Matthew Stafford's the MVP. The only guy that I think is close is Drake May.
I hate this. I hate to agree with you, but yes.
I'm going strictly objectively. If you don't put any allegiance into it, whatever.
That's why we still have what 4 more games left.
Yep, still have 4 games left. No, you know what, Rich? As much as I hate to disagree with you, I can't, because I have to look at it objectively. And Drake May and Stafford are easily the 2 best quarterbacks in the National Football League this year, hands down. Everybody else this year is under them, and that's not a bad thing. So you're right, Rich. I mean, you got to put May in that conversation too. As much as I didn't like him coming out of Carolina, hey, he's done a great job with Mike Vrabel's Patriots this year.
Yeah, I think he definitely fits into that theory that I've always had. If you get a young quarterback and put him in the right system, he will blossom. Ladies and gentlemen, Exhibit A.
Drake May.
I mean, he walked into that Josh McDaniels system, and he's, his rookie year, he struggled. Okay, no big deal. Second year, he's done spectacular. Him and Bo Nix both. Bo Nix started out a little faster, but they both walked into systems that they fit the way they play. They walked into systems that work that way, and they've blossomed at it. So, I'm not sure that Caleb walked into a system that he is going to blossom in.
I could care less how Caleb Williams develops, and I could care less how the Chicago Bears do. So,
But Jordan Love does fit that statement too. Jordan Love got put into a system that fit his game.
Eventually, yeah.
Yeah. He had to make some adjustments, but they all have to make some adjustments. But if you have to make a wholesale change, if you have to make a complete wholesale change in how you play, then
I feel Green Bay is finally recovering how to play football without Tucker Kraft. It took him a couple games though.
Yeah. And you know what? I've actually, not that I'm surprised that they're still playing fairly well on offense without Tucker Kraft. They're just not as explosive without Tucker Kraft. And so they're finding different ways to score with football. Getting Josh Jacobs more involved helps. I will say that. His numbers have been pedestrian, but when you look at the carries he's been given the last 2 or 3 weeks, they're starting to, it feels like, put him around the focal point of the offense in the run game a little bit more than what they have at any other point this season, which is huge. And as far as Luke Musgrave, who took over for Kraft, is concerned, you know what? At first, most everyone at least thought, okay, how is Musgrave going to reproduce the 10 catches and 100 and some odd yards per game that Kraft does? Well, he doesn't need to go out there and be Tucker Kraft. Throw him the ball 3 or 4 times. Maybe he makes some short yardage catches to move the chains. That's all you really need Tucker Kraft to do. And now that we have Jaden Reed back, now that we have Christian Watson back, we're going to be getting Matthew Golden back here really soon. We're going to have a wealth of receivers to distribute the ball to. So, you know what? Hey, Adam, it's worked out fairly well, even better than what I thought without Tucker. Still miss him, right? But hey.
I know everyone said we got about an hour. We've been a little bit over. What do you guys want to do?
I need to get around running here pretty quick.
Yep, I should probably duck out too. I got some stuff to do around the house. So yeah, sorry, raising the white flag.
No, I was just checking. I wanted to make sure. I didn't want to hold you guys on here longer than normal.
It's all good.
I could just say this is my first show in like 3 weeks on my channel. I did pop on with Germany last week, but that was late. I miss doing this, but work's been out of control lately, really heavy. People just ordering mad shit. It's that time of year.
Silly time of year.
Right. So you can get me at Sports Talking It on Twitter, guys. You can also get me on @McNally on Facebook. Hit that like, subscribe button on YouTube for the Driving to the Top channel. I thank everyone for coming on. Jay, thanks for coming on last minute. Rich, I'm glad I got to take you away from maybe a little less stressful now. You did something besides work all damn day. so I thank you guys for coming on.
I know. Yeah, Jace, how's everybody get a hold of you, man?
Well, you guys can find me on X. Just search for @DodgerJason. That's my X/Twitter handle. Feel free to follow me. Feel free to interact with me there. And for my final parting shot, I will say I want to welcome to the LA Dodgers organization the legendary Woonsocket Rocket, or the Rocket from Woonsocket, Rocco Baldelli, former American League All-Star with the Tampa Bay Rays, who last managed the Minnesota Twins. He was just hired by the Los Angeles Dodgers this week to serve as a special advisor, assistant to their front office. We got a great baseball guy. We got a great guy all around. And the Rocket from Woonsocket, baby. Welcome to LA, Rocco Baldelli. That's my final shot, guys.
I like it.
Appreciate you, Jason. Me, Big Rich 8371 on X, Twitter, whatever we're calling it this week. And Facebook, just my name, Rich Richardson. Feel free to interact whenever you get a chance. We definitely appreciate everybody being a part of this thing tonight. And tomorrow, I'm doing my best. Tomorrow, I'm supposed to be hopping on with Haas here on the network to talk about John Cena's final match this coming Saturday night.
All right. Peace out, guys. God bless.
All right, buddy. Guys. Thanks, Jason. All right, man.
Did you hit it? Oh, we hit it. All right. Whew. I feel like a rookie.
Did you end it?
Yeah, I think Jay did.
It's still going.
I think Jay hit the wrong button again.
No, it's still going.
Oh yeah, good. I thought it was.